All right, you have found it. It's the Thursday evening edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. We did live coverage last evening on Facebook and YouTube of the snowstorm, so we didn't do a traditional Weather Geeks last evening, although it did have a Weather Geeks flair because we talked about the Christmas forecast in addition to last night's snow. This forecast, or this video, I should say, will review the snow from last night and early this morning. We'll talk about the weekend forecast. We'll talk about the Christmas forecast and much more. We'll do a little review of the radar over the last 24 hours or so, stopping this morning. This snowstorm was one for the record books, not here locally, but north central PA, southwestern New York. Keep an eye on this radar loop. Once you get out into northern PA, around the Binghamton area, around southern New York, right in through here, wee hours of this morning, once this loops through again, we had some bands that just sat over that region and produced snowfall rates of 3, 4, 5 inches per hour for multiple hours. And so, yeah, snowfall totals were absolutely incredible. Around here, the higher amounts, of course, the farther south and east you went in our area, generally a range from 3 to 4 in some of the northwestern areas to 5 or 6 in parts of our southeastern viewing area, but from about Williamsport, Pennsylvania, through Binghamton, New York, and even into parts of Albany, New York, 3 feet plus. I've seen 45 inches in a few places around Binghamton. Just incredible stuff. And, you know, these sorts of storms are a little bit rare for December. If you're going to get a blockbuster like this in our part of the country and into the Northeast, it's a little more likely in the heart of winter in January and February. Back here locally, here's a look at our updated snowfall tally for the winter, counting what happened yesterday and last night. 17.2 inches worth of snow now at the Youngstown Warren Airport so far this season compared to last winter, 3 inches less through this same time last winter. If you remember our winter forecast for this season, we expected more snow this year than last year. Not exactly saying much because we only had 44 inches at the airport last winter, and even less, of course, the farther south you are in our area. And so it's not exactly a bold statement to say we'll get more this year, but despite a pretty mild winter forecast, I do think that there will be opportunities for events like we had yesterday. This evening, this is a little more in the way of what I call mood snow. This is not going to amount to much. It's pretty, puts you in the holiday mood a little bit, and I can't rule out some slick spots, certainly untreated surfaces, things that tend to run a little bit colder, bridges, overpasses, maybe parking lots that haven't been treated all that much. Any meltwater today can refreeze tonight, a little skiff of snow on top of that. Yeah, you're going to have to watch your step and keep an eye on things on the roads for a time this evening. But this snow is pretty much all fairly benign. Road sensor temperatures here at 627, a couple of bad readings like this one on the Columbia to Mahoning line. The road temperature is not 55.6 degrees, but you get the idea here. Road sensor temperatures pretty close to freezing in a lot of spots right now, kind of like they were last evening. All right, our light snow and flurries will be most persistent this evening. This will shrivel up by the time Friday morning rolls around, not much more than a stray flurry as tomorrow starts. And the bulk of Friday, just cloudy and uneventful. High pressure is not far to our south, but, you know, we're into the cloudy time of the year where even with high pressure in the general vicinity, you can still have cloudy days. And we're going to have that for our Friday. All right, maybe a little milky sunshine at times on Saturday, especially early, but clouds will win the battle. We have kind of a dying front heading our way on Saturday. Model tries to spit out a shower here before the afternoon is through in parts of northern Ohio. I think that's a little fast. I do think that rain showers are more likely after sunset into the overnight, and there can be some wet snowflakes as well. Air temperatures Saturday night, early Sunday will be right around 33, 34. Any snow that occurs, I think, would be non-impactful, with wet conditions on the roads Saturday night and Sunday. Yeah, showers of both rain and snow will be a possibility, especially before midday. Now, the pattern will be dominated by mostly Pacific air by the weekend and early next week, so we're going to see these warm anomalies coming east, and I now have 47 in our forecast for Wednesday, the 23rd, so 2 days before Christmas. But at the very end of this animation on Wednesday, you'll notice that some of these blues are starting to make inroads. And I do think a pretty strong cold front's going to come east as we head towards the Christmas holiday. And as a result, instead of 13 above average for highs like we expect on Wednesday, high temperatures by Christmas Day next Friday will be a few degrees below average. Average on Christmas Day is about 35. We might be around 31, 32. That might be a little optimistic even. I would not be shocked if we were in the upper 20s to around 30 for a high on Christmas Day. All right, there's intrigue out there when it comes to the possibility of snow around Christmas. There's a lot of smoke on the models. Is there any fire? That's the question. It's it's an answer we don't really know just yet. The pattern by the middle of next week will feature a ridge pumping up along the west coast. Pacific energy coming up and over that ridge will descend down into the Rockies. At the same time, you have a little chunk of the polar vortex up here in northern Hudson Bay sending some energy south. These two things are going to try to merge. And if the pattern's progressive enough, this will be a front that produces, a change and maybe a period of snow, but there won't be a big blockbuster snowstorm across the region like we had yesterday. If some things don't time up quite like that and you get a trough that becomes a little more what we call negatively tilted, then you can get a stronger low pressure system at the surface, more uplift, more of a chance of some real intrigue around Christmas. So right now, there's kind of multiple solutions on the models, to say the least, when it comes to the time right around Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. This is the European model I'm showing you, showing what develops into kind of a full latitude trough, but it doesn't really go negatively tilted, and so it's fairly progressive and probably not a whole lot to write about on its current solution when it comes to potential snow right around Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Down here at the surface, that manifests itself in a decent area of low pressure moving across the northern lakes, but this up here is not like low pressure over here, where you get all sorts of snow in this zone. If our low is up here and just drags a cold front through, yes, it'll turn colder, and there probably will be some snow showers for Christmas Eve, but it wouldn't produce some sort of blockbuster storm. But that's just one solution. Whatever happens Christmas Eve, I kind of suspect Christmas Day, there won't be a storm anywhere nearby, but there probably will be a pretty good setup for some lake effect. And you know the drill with lake effect around here. We're going to favor areas north of I-80 for the highest chance of impactful lake effect, but we're talking still 8 days away. We can't get into the granular details just yet, but as a result of the pretty healthy dump of snow we got yesterday and the potential for some intrigue around Christmas, I have increased our white Christmas chances. I had them around 20 to 25%. I've taken them up to average. Now, some of our snow that we picked up yesterday is going to melt. With a high of 47 on Wednesday, we'll do some melting. But until then, not a whole lot's going to melt. It's going to compact and melt some. But we're not going to lose a lot of that snowpack between now and Wednesday. And so the melting will be accelerated Wednesday, but if you picked up 5 or 6 inches of snow yesterday, you might still have an inch on the ground Christmas morning, regardless of what happens with that front around Christmas Eve. So things are looking up if you are hoping for a white Christmas, although it is certainly no guarantee at this point. All right, so before we wrap things up, the Climate Prediction Center put out their initial January outlook. They do these twice a month, once right around now, about halfway through the month, around the 17th, 18th usually, and then they'll do it again with an update right before the new year begins. Their initial January outlook is not surprising. It favors warmer than average temperatures in much of the U.S. This is not to say every day in January will be warmer than average, but when it comes out in the wash at the end, it'll more than likely be a warmer than average month. And I think we're still on track with our winter forecast suggesting that winter overall will be warmer than average, and December may be the coldest compared to average and the stormiest month of the winter season this year. That'll do it for me tonight, and this is it for Weather Geeks. Until after Christmas, I have time off, starting tomorrow, taking us all the way through next week. Now, that being said, much like a lot of people, I'm not exactly going to be busy and doing a lot of traveling for Christmas this year. So if we do have some intrigue with the weather at Christmas time, I'm going to be popping on with some updates on social media, but I will not be on 21 News at 6 and 11 again until the 28th. So I wish you and yours a very healthy and joyous Christmas holiday, and hope to see you back here for more Weather Geeks action as we ring out 2020 and get set to ring in the new year. We'll do a year in review version of Weather for Weather Geeks on a quiet weather night right before New Year's. Until then, stay safe and happy holidays.